Today's topic is sponsored by Professional Value Books Incorporated, the publisher of the book, The Smart Guide to Marketing, authored by yours truly, Jack Gaskell, from which this presentation was excerpted. Not many of us could have predicted the recent pandemic, and fewer of us have prepared a plan for our businesses to recover from it. We also need a business plan to recover from other kinds of business disasters, like fires or floods of our places of business. Some of us need to plan for natural disasters like hurricanes, blizzards, tornadoes, wildfires, avalanches, droughts, volcanoes, or even tsunamis. Before elaborating on each of the items listed, I propose we reflect on the impact of the recent past. The coronavirus pandemic that hopefully is in the distant past by the time that you're hearing this was a worldwide disaster and probably, hopefully, the most dramatic event any of us will experience in our lifetimes. This incident will impact all of us permanently, each of us in different ways. But if you heed my advice and prepare your disaster recovery plan now, you will be better prepared for whatever the future may bring your way. Now let us elaborate on the checklist. Implement your emergency funding plan. Instead of frantically calling Daddy for emergency funds when your disaster occurs, plan ahead. First, budget your needs. This task is made more difficult because you don't know what kind of disaster you will be experiencing, the duration of your business disruption, or if you'll be able to remain partially in operation. Make assumptions. Budget for your business to be totally closed for 1 month. The things to include are overhead, rent, utilities, insurance, loan payments, mortgages, and the multitude of other expenses that your business has. Materials and inventory. Cancel new shipments of materials to you if possible. Payroll. If you can, plan to keep your entire staff employed for at least the first month. Taxes. You may be able to delay these, but with the red tape and possible late fees and penalties, avoid this if possible. And of course, budget for your personal needs. The next thing to consider are sources of revenue. Savings. Most owners of small businesses have enough personal savings to keep their businesses afloat for at least a month. But during business downturns, your credit cards may be maxed out. A savvy business person would budget their business and personal expenses to have a minimum of 3 months operating capital readily available. Loans. Assuming that you might need as much as 3 months of operating capital during a personal or more widespread emergency, and inquire about the likelihood of available funds for you based on your banking relationship and credit worthiness. It might be prudent to arrange for a line of credit, but these are easily canceled by the lender on the spur of the moment based on current circumstances or changes in their policies. Consider special opportunities, government grants or low or no interest loans that might become excusable. Daddy, I smiled as I listed this item, and I certainly recommend that you make every effort to be self-sufficient. But if you failed to adequately save and you're not creditworthy, he may see loaning you money as a better alternative than having you and your spouse and kids move in with him. The point is, in order to be financially prepared, you need to budget your expenses and potential sources of revenue and plan as best you can. When a disaster happens, most people's first thought is, how am I going to pay for this? But if you plan ahead, you'll at least have your guesstimate. Implement your emergency contact lists. Don't search for the right phone number or email address while you're standing ankle deep in water or choking on smoke. Have your emergency contact list ready and up to date to serve your immediate needs. Add other contacts that are necessary for the needs of your particular company and be prepared to update as new sources develop. And don't forget to include services that may help your employees meet their personal and family obligations. I've got more great slides, but let me first tell you that you don't need to take notes. Just continue to listen to my melodic voice. I have a free tip list with these same notes, and it is free to download from my website. The Engineer's Resource. The reason that I chose this name is because I am an electrical engineer and was in private practice as a consulting engineer for over 35 years. I graduated from the College of Engineering at the University of Rhode Island, and I studied day and night and seldom got a grade above a C, while some of my classmates hardly ever studied and got all A's and B's. I still hate those guys. However, I was savvy and I knew how to market myself and my professional practice, and within 10 years, many people thought that I was the smartest person in the room, and therefore my engineering practice must be the best. If you follow much of the advice in my book, you may also be regarded as such. You are what you are thought to be. If you just type in the Engineer's Resource, Google will be able to find me. When you're on my site, just click on the bookstore and you will find several free downloads. But don't just take the free stuff. Buy my new book. I will keep this brief. I am the author of the book, The Smart Guide to Marketing. I just added a new chapter, Your Disaster Recovery Plan. Thus, this preview that I am presenting today. My book is a bargain at only 19 bucks, but many people are buying copies for friends at a deep discount. Gift a copy of this book to business people who have helped you through the recent crisis. Here are the benefits. First, the Your Disaster Recovery Plan chapter will help them develop a business plan for their particular business to recover from any future disaster, including fires or floods of their places of business or weather disasters. It will be a lot easier for them to leisurely develop it now rather than when their pants are on fire or they are standing in 6 inches of water. Second, the marketing advice will help their businesses thrive in both good and bad times. And lastly, and probably most importantly, your personal message on the inside cover will remind them of who was thoughtful enough to give them this timely and helpful present. This is the discount schedule that I am offering. Look at the deep discounts. Just think of the smile on the recipient's face when you hand them the book. They will probably keep it on their desk as an easy reference guide. Look for it next time that you visit them. And I even have some hard copies available if you really want to make an impression. And these babies are case laminated like expensive cookbooks. So visit my website. What's that name again? Don't worry, I will mention it again at the end of this presentation. Now the next slide. Pre-recovery thanks and reassurance to staff. Regardless of the particular type of tragedy that your business is experiencing, your staff, no doubt, will have immediately taken steps to protect your business. It is important to show them how much you appreciate their efforts on your behalf. I suggest initially telling your staff something like the following. Thank you so much for your concern and help. For now, everyone is still on the payroll with their usual benefits. Working together, we'll figure this out. Notice the elements to include in your statement. The first word is thank you. It includes a temporary assurance without making a time commitment. It emphasizes the word everyone instead of the words for now. It implies that you don't yet have all the answers. It states confidence in finding a solution. It is brief and concise. So compose your statement, write it down, and memorize it. You won't instill much confidence if you have to read it to your staff. Keep staff informed and updated. What happened, why it happened, steps that you are taking to mitigate negative effects, and how this affects them personally. Protect property from further damage. If the problem is a pandemic, there is no damage unless it is done later by looters. If the problem is fire or water, call in the disaster recovery specialists. They have the equipment and fast response staff available to quickly address your problem. Protect property from damage by persons, like looters. During the pandemic, most rural areas have had few security issues, but some major cities have had significant problems. It is up to each facility to balance security controls against risks, taking into account the costs along with broader issues such as aesthetics. Physical access security measures that are appropriate for a prison are inappropriate in an office or most business facilities, although the principles are similar. First, consider your needs on an everyday basis, then separately evaluate upgrades that may be needed during a disaster. Look at the list and take into consideration things like your location and its history for crime, your budget, and common sense. Call your insurance company and discuss your liabilities. Investigate your insurance coverage. Riot damage is generally covered by business insurance policies under theft and fire. However, certain policies may also offer provisions for businesses whose trade is adversely affected by riots, even if this is not a direct result of damage or looting. Ask your insurance agent about this now. Perhaps extra coverage can be added at little cost. However, business disruption insurance excludes pandemics. Repair property if needed. When there's no longer an emergency, repair the damage. Of course, the extent of the damage will dictate the means needed for repairs. If you have broken windows, call a window guy, not a general contractor. But if you need a contractor, hire a licensed and insured contractor. Safeguard business records. In today's age of computers and automatically saving to the cloud, preserving records is less of an issue than it once was. I download all my documents to a portable hard drive every evening before going to bed. The internet represents an insecure channel for exchanging information, which leads to a high risk of intrusion or fraud. Many methods can be used to protect the transfer of data, including encryption. However, most companies need only a good antivirus software program. Also available are what's referred to as security suites that include firewalls, antivirus, anti-spyware, and more. Keep your computer properly functioning during a disaster is critical to the continuity of the operation of your business. Make sure that you have a reliable and competent service that can remotely access your computer and correct issues if needed. Retrieve any handwritten and any other non-electronically stored records as soon as feasible. Notify, reassure, and continually update clients or customers. Communication in any disaster is important to business continuation. With central coordination, working remotely is possible for most businesses. As soon as possible, notify your clients or customers that you are still ready and able to serve their needs and how to get directly in touch with you or the person or department in your company who's handling their account. It might be appropriate for a restaurant, for example, to email daily specials, or even early bird discounts might work. The important thing is that customers don't forget you and start doing business with one of your competitors. Temporarily expand business online. Step up your online marketing. Car dealerships and realtors should consider virtual tours of their inventory with full audio narration. Upscale restaurants should consider curbside pickup and home delivery within a 10-mile radius. Search for and move to temporary space if needed. If your workspace is completely unusable, you may have to move at least temporarily. The ease of relocation depends a lot on the type of business and availability of properties. If you need general office space, there's always a supply. Restaurant space is likely to be more difficult. However, there may be a local closed restaurant that suits your needs, including equipment and furnishings. I recommend working with an established local realtor, not just an agent or your cousin Vinny from another city. Don't let your employees become your moving men. Hire professional movers. You don't want to assume the liability for the possibility of injury to your staff or damage to your equipment. The next thing you want to do is promote temporary reopening. And these are the 5 basic categories. Modify your signage, make changes to your website. That website is really important. You might want to consider radio, newspaper, and direct mail, but I think the important thing is email marketing. Email marketing. Most savvy merchants have developed their own customer lists over time. Even your list of telephone numbers or mailing addresses can be converted to an email list with a little ingenuity. A call or letter offering a discount coupon if they email a request, for example. Make it part of your disaster recovery plan to start accumulating an email list of your own now. With every receipt that you give a customer, include a valuable coupon that says, to activate this coupon, email the word activate to your company name at your company address. Promote permanent reopening. The same principles apply for your grand reopening that applied to your temporary reopening. Beginning a week or 10 days before, modify your signage to announce your grand reopening. Hang balloons from your sign for the first week. Rent a clown costume and hire somebody to dance around out front, whatever it takes to attract customers. While you are temporarily reopened, work with your website designer and your media advertising people so that you can seamlessly update everything on the day of the grand reopening. Your email blast should hype reopening. Reaching your goal of restoring your business to full operation will be the net sum of successes and failures. Taking your best shot at each effort improves your chances of accomplishing that desired result. Last thing you need to do now is thank everybody, your staff, the workers, and customers for efforts and understanding. Start by composing a personal letter to each category of person who helped you. Talk to your staff privately as a group. Thank the workers in person. Follow through by sending a personal letter to each of their companies. Next, email a thank you note to your customers. And lastly, update your disaster recovery plan to include lessons learned. Before you forget about this mind-blowing presentation, visit my website. Once you're at my website, just click on the bookstore and you will find all those great free downloads. But don't just take the free stuff. Buy my new book. As previously mentioned, I am the author of the book, The Smart Guide to Marketing. I just added a new chapter, Your Disaster Recovery Plan, thus this preview that you have just watched. My book is a bargain at $19, but many people are buying copies for friends at a deep discount. Gift a copy of this book to business people who have helped you through the recent crisis. Here are the benefits. First, the Your Disaster Recovery Plan chapter will help them develop a business plan for their particular businesses to recover from any future disasters, including fires or floods of their place of business or weather disasters. It will be a lot easier for them to leisurely develop it now rather than when their pants are on fire or they are standing in 6 inches of water. Second, the marketing advice will help their businesses thrive in both good and bad times. And lastly, and probably most importantly, your personal message on the inside cover will remind them of who was thoughtful enough to give them this timely and helpful present. This is the discount schedule that I am offering. Look at the deep discounts. Just think of the smile on the recipient's face when you hand them the book. They will probably keep the book on their desk as an easy reference guide. Look for it next time that you visit them. And I even have some hard copies available if you really want to make an impression. And these babies are case laminated, just like expensive cookbooks. So visit my website. To those few hardy souls who are still with us, thank you for sticking with me. When you buy my book, enter coupon code PAPERBACK at checkout and receive free shipping. If you follow my advice, you may truly become the smartest person in the room. Thanks for your time and attention.